What's up, guys? It's Lawrence again. So today we are going to have the big showdown of the Nike Epic React versus the Pegasus Turbo with a Zoom X cushioning. So I'm sure a lot of people are really interested in this, and I want to premise everything I'm about to say. I am a runner in the most amateur form. I do it as a form of exercise. I definitely do not go miles and miles. In fact, 2 to 3 miles is basically my max when it comes to exercise in these types of shoes. With that said, I've given the Turbo about a week's worth of running. I've probably put in around like 15-ish miles over this week just to do this review, which is a lot for me, and I know for most runners it's not too much running. So today we're going to get into several features. The first one we're going to look at is really the upper. So the upper of the Epic React is made out of Flyknits, while the Pegasus Turbo is made out of a mesh. From an upper perspective, super simple. I prefer the upper of the Epic React for sure. While this is a great upper, it is lightweight. For me personally, the midfoot area is an issue. Where the Flywire comes in, it really just doesn't hug my foot the same way I'd like to. Most other running shoes don't have that problem for me, so this is actually a unique problem for the Pegasus 35 Turbo. This doesn't happen on the Epic React. There's a really snug fit because of the Flyknit, and I love the upper much more. It's much more breathable. This is less breathable, but it's still a really great upper for a running shoe in general. Next thing we're going to tackle is design. Looking at the Epic React and the Pegasus 35 Turbo, there's no doubt that the Pegasus 35 Turbo has a much more heavy design aesthetic. If you kind of look at it from this perspective, it looks pretty much like a shark, and that racing stripe is freaking awesome, and I do love that about the shoe. So the Epic React it's nice, but I'd say it's a little boring. It looks like a running shoe, and it's an iteration of a running shoe. And while the Pegasus 35 Turbo is also a running shoe, I think from a pure aesthetic perspective, this silhouette just, I think, looks a lot better, especially with how the sole comes into a point over here, and that racing stripe is really cool. And so I really do like the upper of this, and it's shiny. I don't know if people notice this, but it's pretty shiny as well. Next thing, and this is probably for most people, it's going to be the underfoot feel for lifestyle. So from an underfoot feel for lifestyle perspective, I actually prefer the Epic React. I haven't. If you guys have followed my channel for a while, you guys know that the Epic React personally is one of my favorite shoes because the React is very stable, it's firm, and I get a great bounce back from it. Lifestyle for this, it's a little too soft for me. One of the reasons why I don't love Boost is because that the Boost for me is a little soft, and the Zoom X cushioning that is along the top of the sole is also a little too soft for me when it comes to lifestyle. So I'm not a huge fan of it for a lifestyle shoe. It's also because of the upper, it's less snug. For me, it's not the greatest walking shoe to be in. And so the Epic React definitely takes the edge when it comes to lifestyle comfort. However, things change when you're running in them. The running shoe on the Epic React is just phenomenal. Where I basically, at 2 miles, my foot starts hurting on this shoe. I do feel like the Epic React does have better bounce when you're running. My foot hurts, and also does other parts of my leg. This one is just phenomenal when it comes down to running. I mean, you definitely get that same bounce back that we're talking about earlier, but the fatigue that I get on this shoe at the 2 to 3 mile mark is very different. And actually, it pushes me to go towards that 3 mile because my legs aren't hurting as much. Hopefully I'll get to the point where 3 miles becomes a lot easier, but overall I'd say that the Pegasus is much better for running, despite the upper not being a better upper. So next up is traction. Looking at the bottoms of the shoes, I don't think they're going to have any gripes with the fact that this is probably better in terms of traction. You can see much more rubber over here, whereas on the Epic React you basically only see up here and over here. Hopefully in future iterations of the Epic React, they're going to increase the rubber nibs and rubber parts of the shoe. As you can see, I think I've put probably 100-ish miles on the Epic React. Not all running, but a good amount of it running, and it's really starting to wear over here. However, I'd say that I do not feel any noticeable difference when it comes down to comfort and or performance. This is still too early to be seen in terms of how long this is going to last from a durability perspective, but there's significantly more rubber, and so that's really good. Durability-wise, I'm going to definitely give this to the Pegasus. It's actually designed to be much more rugged and durable. The only thing that I do not know is how fast the Zoom X is going to flatten out. We know that React has a pretty long amount of time, and you know, when they released the technology itself and also talked about it, the React that's on the bottom of the Pegasus is there because it does last a long time. If you look at the Zoom X, which is on top, it's a much softer cushioning. It's also much more lightweight. However, if you look at the Vaporfly 4%, that was only supposed to last maybe 100 miles, and that would be it. So if you think about it, this shoe already hit 100 miles, and you know, like I said, I don't run very far in them, but I've done a lot of walking in them, and that would not have been well because that shoe for $250 would have been done already. So hopefully the combination of the Zoom X on top and the React on the bottom, where most of the impact is with the floor and the ground, it'll last a little longer. Finally, I'd say overall value, it's pretty simple. I love the Epic React, and I would prefer working out in the Pegasus for running, but if I had to pay $30 extra, which is $180 for the Pegasus Turbo versus $150 for the React, for the Epic React, I would definitely go with the Epic React and save $30. I'm not a huge runner by any means, and because of that, the differences between the shoes are really not that drastic for somebody that does not run a lot. I'd say that this allows me much more comfort in general as I go for longer runs, but I don't go for long runs that often. 2 miles to 3 miles is really where I top out, and I think this shoe is going to start shining when you're past the 3, 4, 5 mile mark because of its really softness as well as stability. So overall, I would recommend the Epic React as the winner here, but that's for your casual consumer, definitely for a casual lifestyle person. I do believe, and I definitely can't confirm it, if there's any runners that have tried the Pegasus Turbo and have gone on extremely long runs, definitely tell me how you feel about this, because for me personally, I just don't run enough or hard enough for this to be the best shoe for me. So I would go with the Epic React. And that's it, guys. If you have any other questions about either of these shoes, definitely let me know. And until next time, this was the throwdown between the Pegasus 35 Turbo and the Epic React. Peace.